MSW Media. Big shout out today to Helix Sleep. Take their 2-minute sleep quiz and they'll match you to a mattress that'll give you the best sleep of your life. Helix is offering 20% off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows for listeners. Go to helixsleep.com/dailybeans and use promo code HelixPartner. This is their best offer yet, and it won't last long. With Helix, better sleep starts now.
News with swearing. Daily beans, daily beans. Daily beans, daily beans.
Hello and welcome to the Daily Beans for Wednesday, April 19th, 2023. Today, Fox and Dominion reach a $787 million settlement. 2 Democratic senators have referred Justice Thomas to a committee of federal judges responsible for addressing errors or omissions in financial filings. Fulton County prosecutors have filed a motion to remove the lawyers representing 10 of the fraudulent electors. The governor of Oklahoma calls on officials to resign over racist remarks. And President Biden signs a sweeping executive order improving care for millions. I'm Allison Gill.
And I'm Dana Goldberg.
Hey, Dana, how are you?
I'm good. It just feels so good to be back still. I know I talked about it yesterday, but it just, the pod fuels me and gives me something. So anyway, super happy to be back. Happy to be. And the guest today, I know we're going to get there. She's fucking kick-ass.
She's one of my heroes, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, she co-founded The Daily Show, you know? Like,
Yeah.
How fucking cool is that?
Yeah.
And produced it for a long time. Now, we're going to talk about this first. I want to get this discussion going because Dominion and Fox, Dominion has settled for $787.5 million. That's half of what they were seeking and $1.6 billion in damages. And, my top-line thoughts here are, okay, I get it, and also I'm pissed.
Oh, I actually agree with you. Like, I understand Dominion probably wanted to settle for many reasons, 787 million of them, but also, I wanted to see Fox News go down for this.
Yeah, I wanted to see them go to trial and stand trial. But I do understand the risks involved in defamation suits. You might not have gotten 1.6 billion. You might not have gotten certain things. One juror could, screw up the punitive damages. I mean, there's a lot that you're risking by going to a jury trial. But I mean, the lawyers for Dominion came out afterward and said, hey, money is accountability, which says to me, and Oliver Darcy is also reporting, that it doesn't look like they're going to have to issue on-air apologies. I was hoping for, 5-minute scripted apologies telling Fox viewers that they lied to them for a long time from the major hosts. And apparently that's not part of this deal. And when asked about it, they just sort of batted the question away and didn't answer it.
Yeah, that's a disappointing part for sure. But this isn't the last time either that this is going to happen. We still have the other case, the other voting machine case. So we'll see. Hopefully, they're going to have to pay out more to them. And this isn't the last time that Fox News is going to get sued. And I think one of the things that at least this shows is that they're not impervious to consequences at this point. I understand we're not getting what we want, but maybe they'll, I don't know. I'm actually, that's laughable. I'm like, maybe they'll stop lying so much, but that's not going to happen. But I do think they realize that there's a finer line they have to walk now. Otherwise, they're going to keep getting sued for $1.6 billion for things.
Yeah, but I think what they've learned today is that there's a price tag for lying. And whether that's good or bad, or whether it deters them or not, is yet to be seen. But yeah, like you said, Smartmatic, who has a $2.7 billion lawsuit against them, which is just in its infancy, as Katie Fang was reporting from the courthouse today in Delaware. And they said, look, we look forward to, we're going to finish this fight and we're going to help preserve democracy, et cetera, et cetera. And there's, still other Dominion cases against like Rudy and stuff that are still happening. And we did get a lot of really important information out of the discovery of this particular lawsuit with Dominion, but it's just us who are seeing it. The people, the people whose minds don't have to be changed. So I guess, we shouldn't have relied on rich corporate people to do the right thing.
Right.
I get it, but I'm also disappointed. Those two things can exist at once. Everybody, it's cool. You can be like, all right, I get it, but I'm also pissed.
Yep. Simultaneity. It's having two opposite emotions at the same time. I great, we got the money. I'm fucking pissed about it still.
Yeah, I don't think money is accountability. I think truth is accountability. And I think if anybody learned a lesson today, it was us, the citizens, the people, the voters who deigned to think that a corporation would help us preserve or save democracy or preserve the truth. So, that's on me for, I guess, looking forward to to Dominion taking them apart in court. But yeah, it is a little bit disappointing, but it's also indicative that justice is rarely what we want.
Yeah, I agree. And we have better things to talk about. And you were going to get to them right after you plug and tease Liz, which I'm so excited about.
Yeah, I'll be speaking to the Daily Show co-founder and co-host of the Feminist Buzzkills podcast, good friend Liz Winstead. We're going to talk about the mifepristone thing that's happening. We know that the people who are trying to block the FDA from making mifepristone available have filed their briefing with the Supreme Court. So that just came out. We'll be going over that tomorrow as well. But yeah, I look forward to talking to Liz. So anyway, we have a lot of other news to get to today. A lot of important stuff happened besides this Dominion settlement. So let's hit the hot notes. Hot notes. All right, from Hallerman and Rankin at the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, which is a great paper if you can subscribe. The Fulton County District Attorney's Office has offered immunity deals to some of the alternate GOP electors who met at the Georgia Capitol and cast phony Electoral College votes for Trump following the 2020 election. In a court motion filed on Tuesday, which I will go over in depth on next week's Cleanup on Aisle 45, the DA's office disclosed that it has been interviewing several of those Republicans in recent weeks, and that some of them accused a fellow elector of committing acts that are violations of Georgia law that we weren't party to. That's according to the motion, without revealing specifics. So it sounds like some of the 10 people that this lawyer represents are like, well, one of us is doing extra bad things and we would like to talk about it. The DA's office filed a motion in an attempt to disqualify from the case attorney Kimberly Burrows Dubrow, who is representing, like I said, 10 of these electors, which is just bonkers. It's impossible to get 10 people to sing from the same sheet of music. And that's one of the issues in this motion, explosive motion, in which prosecutors allege that Dubrow failed to inform her clients about immunity deal offers after they were offered last summer. Prosecutors said they had been told by Dubrow and her then co-counsel Holly Pearson on August 5th of 2022 that none of their clients were interested in immunity deals. But during interviews with electors last week, some of the electors told members of the investigation team that no offer of immunity was ever brought to them in 2022, which is in direct conflict with Ms. Pearson's representation to this court. So they lied to the court. Their motion said Dubrow's representation of 10 electors has become impracticable and an ethical mess. Yeah. Well, here's a quote. It's unfathomable how Ms. Dubrow can offer competent and adequate counsel to her client who has been accused of further crimes. And any claim of all 10 of her clients being similarly situated has gone out the window. In order to represent a bunch of clients, they all have to be similarly situated. A spokesman for Fulton County District Attorney Fonnie Willis declined to comment. Dubrow didn't respond to requests for comment. And this isn't the first time Fonnie Willis sought Dubrow's disqualification. Last October, they pushed for the removal of Dubrow and Pearson, who at the time represented 11 of the electors, a group that involved then Georgia GOP Chairman David Schaefer. In November, Superior Court Judge Robert McBurney ruled that Dubrow and Pearson could represent Schaefer or the 10 electors, but not both, since they were substantially differently situated in terms of the criminal investigation. Schaefer's in a lot more trouble. Let's just say that. After that, Pearson received permission to represent Schaefer. Among the 10 being represented by Dubrow are Sean Still, GOP Party Treasurer Joseph Brannon, GOP Assistant Treasurer Vicky Consiglio, and Atlanta lawyer Brad Carver. The state GOP, headed up by Schaefer, spent more than $220,000 last year to defend the court. It's Schaefer who's paying these two lawyers. Dubrow's firm received $170,000 in legal fees in 2022. Pearson has been paid at least $52,000. Dubrow received another $87,000 in February, according to campaign finance filings. So, this lawyer, Pearson, lied to the court, failed to present an immunity deal to her clients, which is explosively huge. I'm surprised there weren't sanctions filed here and a bar referral.
Yeah.
And now they have conflicted clients. This is really, really bad. I'll discuss again, like I said, with Pete Strzok on next week's Cleanup on Aisle 45. And, of course, during the bonus episode for patrons of Cleanup this weekend as well.
And I have a theory, and AG, I know that sometimes I have theories, and you're like, yes, but this is actually not legal, which is fine, because sometimes my theories are bullshit, but every once in a while. We have to remember Sidney Powell was behind a lot of these fake elector schemes. And I'm wondering if the lawyers went to Sidney and was like, hey, they're offering immunity deals. And Sidney was like, don't fucking bring that to them because they're going to throw me under the bus if you give them immunity.
Oh, yeah. I think that's a possibility. Another possibility was David Schaefer, right?
Yeah.
Schaefer was the guy who said that Fani Willis can't, investigate me because she threw a fundraiser for my opponent.
Yep.
When I was running for office. So she had to recuse from David Schaefer.
Yeah.
And Schaefer, like I said, back in November, had to split from these 10 other people because he was a bigger criminal. And and so Pearson said, I'll do Schaefer. Dubrow, you do the other 10. And now within Dubrow's 10, they're pointing fingers at each other. But Schaefer's GOP, state GOP, is who paid for both of these lawyers. Right. So I wouldn't be surprised if Schaefer was like, make sure nobody gets a deal. Make sure nobody gets immunity and cuts a deal and flips on me.
Oh, I hope the lawyers get disbarred. What a mess. Like, I don't understand how these people got their law degrees. Anyway.
She's a law professor.
Yeah.
She's a former assistant DA, and she's a law professor.
She's probably a brilliant woman, but I don't understand why they choose to defend these people. That's what I mean. There's got to be some smarts to her.
If she was a brilliant woman, she wouldn't have done some shit like not offer an immunity deal
to her
and
clients.
Then lie to the court about it, because she could lose her law license. She could lose her tenure or adjunct professorship or whatever the fuck she is. It's bonkers. You never I immediately called my lawyer friends and was like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
they had an offer.
None of us.
And they didn't present an offer to their clients. That is big, bad breaking of rules.
Yeah. And speaking of bad judges, here's the big guy. And this is from the Washington Post. Allegations from congressional Democrats that Clarence Thomas likely violated federal ethics laws in his dealings with a Republican donor. Well, they have been sent to a committee of federal judges responsible for, and I quote, addressing allegations of errors or omissions in the filing of financial disclosure reports. That's from a top judicial official. That's what they said on Tuesday.
Judicial official.
Now, Sheldon Whitehouse, who I love, and he's the one that connects all the dots about the dark money in the Supreme Court. Fucking awesome. And also Rep. Hank Johnson, who's a Democrat from Georgia. They had requested that the Judicial Conference of the United States investigate Thomas's failure to disclose travel and real estate deals with Republican donor and Dallas business executive Harlan Crow. If Harlan Crow doesn't have a 2-gallon cowboy hat and a dog named Roscoe Pico Train, I don't know what the fuck.
Roscoe Pico Train dog name is Flash. So
that's right.
He needs to have a dog named Roscoe, and Roscoe has to have a little friend named Flash.
Exactly. I know. I got the dog confused. I don't know. They're all a bunch of rednecks. And I say that because they are literally... they have a whole museum. Sorry, I don't mean to get sidetracked, but the fact that I watched The Dukes of Hazzard when I was younger, and now how fucking problematic that show is. Anyway, so yes, Harlan Crow. Back to the story. Whitehouse and Johnson also said the matter should be referred to Attorney General Merrick Garland.
Yeah, that's what I want.
Absolutely. And this is a quote. There is reasonable cause to believe that Justice Thomas willfully failed to file information required to be reported under the Ethics in Government Act of 1978. This is from those Democrats. Now, U.S. District Judge Rosalind Mauskoff, a director of the Administrative Office of the U.S. Courts, responded Tuesday to say the lawmaker's complaint had been referred to the authorized committee. We have passed it on. And this is a quote. I have forwarded your letter to the Judicial Conference Committee on Financial Disclosure, which is responsible for implementing the disclosure provisions of the Ethics in Government Act and addressing allegations of errors or omissions in the filing of financial disclosure reports. That was Mauskoff. She wrote in a letter obtained by the Washington Post. Her short reply did not indicate how or whether the committee would proceed from here. Whitehouse and Johnson did not immediately return a request for comment. Now, Kedrick Payne, who's the senior director of ethics at the Campaign Legal Center, which has also lodged a complaint against Thomas, said it was significant that the conference acknowledged the letter from the lawmakers and referred it to the committee. This is definitely the first step, Payne said. It's encouraging if they work quickly. His organization has yet received a response from the conference, though. The judiciary's financial disclosure rules outline a disciplinary process for failing to file the required information, potentially including civil or criminal action in the court. The judicial conference can refer individuals to the U.S. Attorney General, who can in turn file a civil action or initiate a criminal prosecution for, quote, knowingly and willfully falsifying or failing to report any financial disclosure information. Now, Clarence Thomas has every fucking excuse under the book, but I know that he's got to have slipped up somewhere. Legal ethics experts, try that 3 times fast, could not, or just once slow for me.
Try that 1 time slow. That's my new thing for you.
Yeah, try that 1 time slowly. Legal ethics experts could not recall any judge or justice sanctioned in a case brought by the Attorney General. In 2014, the Justice Department investigated the travel expenses of a federal appeals court judge, but they declined to prosecute him.
Yeah, all right. So that's the process, right? The senators refer this to the Judicial Committee. The Judicial Conference Committee can refer them to the Attorney General, and then the Attorney General can file a civil action or initiate a criminal prosecution. And there's apparently only one other time, and that was 2014, and they declined to prosecute. Now, and that wasn't even a Supreme Court justice. So pretty long odds that there would be any criminal investigation here, but at least the process is underway. And I'm also interested to know who sits on the Judicial Conference panel. Is it a bunch of dickbags like Eileen Cannon and Kazmierek, or like who's on? Who's going to be
reading this and responding?
Right? Because you're like, oh, cool, the Inspector General is going to investigate. Who is it? Oh, Kufari? Oh, fucking great. He appalls and exhausts us. So it's like, who's on this panel? We'll see. Anyway, I don't know. I wish I did. I'll see if I look that up later. Also from CNN, content warning here for racism. The governor of Oklahoma is calling for McCurtain County officials to resign after they participated in a secretly recorded conversation that included racist remarks about lynching Black people and killing journalists. The McCurtain Gazette-News over the weekend published the audio, it said, was recorded following a Board of Commissions meeting on March 6th. The paper said the audio of the meeting was legally obtained, but the McCurtain County Sheriff's Office said in a statement it was illegally recorded and it's investigating. That means they totally said these things. The Sheriff's Office also said it believes the recording has been altered, so they're accusing whoever recorded this of editing that recording. I am both appalled and disheartened to hear of the horrid comments made by officials in McCurtain County. That's Governor Kevin Stitt in a statement on Sunday. He went on to say there's simply no place for such hateful rhetoric in the state of Oklahoma, especially by those that serve to represent the community through their respective office. I will not stand idly by while this takes place. The governor called for the immediate resignations of McCurtain County Sheriff Kevin Clardy, District 2 Commissioner Mark Jennings, Sheriff's Investigator Alicia Manning, and Jail Administrator Larry Hendricks. Great. So a district commissioner, a county sheriff, a sheriff's investigator, and a jail administrator, all super racist, according to the alleged recordings. He also said he would ask the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation to look at the case. McCurtain County is in southeastern Oklahoma, about 200 miles from Oklahoma City. The recording was made hours after Gazette News reporter Chris Willingham filed a lawsuit against the sheriff's office, Manning, and the Board of County Commissioners, alleging they had defamed him and violated his civil rights. In the recording, Manning spoke of needing to go near the newspaper's office and expressed concern about what would happen if she ran into Willingham, the Oklahoman reported. That's from the Oklahoman, citing additional reporting from the Gazette News. According to the Oklahoman report, Jennings said, quote, "Oh, you're talking about you can't control yourself?" And Manning replied, "Yeah, I ain't worried about what he's going to do to me. I'm worried about what I might do to him. My pawpaw would have whipped his ass, would have wiped him up, used him for toilet paper. If my daddy hadn't been run over by a vehicle, he would have been down there." Jennings replied that his father was once upset by something the newspaper published and started to go down there and just kill him. Quote, "I know where 2 big, deep holes are, and if you ever need them," he said. Clardy, the sheriff, allegedly said he had equipment. "Well, I've got an excavator." And he's accused of saying that during the discussion. "Well, these are already pre-dug," Jennings allegedly said. In other parts of the recording, officials expressed disappointment that Black people could no longer be lynched, according to the paper. Now, CNN has not been able to verify the authenticity of the recording or confirm who said what. CNN has reached out to all 4 county officials for comment. The Oklahoma Sheriff's Association voted Tuesday to suspend the membership of Clardy, Manning, and Hendricks, the group's executive director told CNN. Willingham and his father, Bruce Willingham, the paper's publisher, have been advised to temporarily leave town. For nearly a year, they have suffered intimidation, ridicule, and harassment based solely on their efforts to report the news in McCurtain County. That's Kilpatrick Townsend, the law firm representing the Willingham family. The McCurtain County Sheriff's Office said in a statement Monday that there's an ongoing investigation into multiple significant violations of the Oklahoma Security of Communications Act, which makes it illegal to secretly record conversations. Our preliminary information indicates that media-released audio recording, the one released to the media, in fact, has been altered. The motivation for doing so remains unclear. The matter is actively being investigated. The Oklahoma Attorney General's office has received the audio recording and is investigating. Communications Director Phil Bacharach says the FBI would not confirm or deny whether it's involved in the investigation. So that's what's going on there.
Absolutely fucking horrible. I can't. All right, good news. We got good news from the president's desk. Today, President Biden will announce the most comprehensive set of executive actions any president has ever taken to improve care for hardworking families while still supporting care workers and family caregivers. Joined by people with disabilities, family caregivers, long-term care workers, early educators, veterans, and aging advocates, the president will sign an executive order that includes more than 50 directives to nearly every cabinet-level agency to expand access to affordable, high-quality care and provide support for care workers and family caregivers. Now, too many families and individuals struggle to access the affordable, high-quality care that they actually need. The cost of childcare is up 26% in the last decade and more than 200% over the past 30 years. 200%. For the elderly or people with disabilities, long-term care costs up to 40%. They've gone up 40% in the past decade. Now, the result is many Americans, particularly women, they stay out of the workforce to care for their families. And it's making that hard for businesses to attract and retain a skilled workforce and for the economy to grow. A BCG brief forecasts losses of $290 billion each year in gross domestic product in 2030 and beyond if the U.S. fails to address the lack of affordable childcare. Now, at the same time, many workers provided this critical care find themselves in low-paying jobs with few benefits. Care workers who are disproportionately women of color, they struggle to make ends meet, and the turnover rates are incredibly high. In addition, AG, at least 53 million Americans serve as family caregivers, and that's including over 5 million care for service members or veterans. And many face challenges due to lack of support, training, and opportunities for rest. They're not getting enough sleep. Now, President Biden believes that we must secure significant new federal investments to transform care in this country. That's why he and Vice President Harris called for investments to support high-quality, affordable childcare, preschool, and long-term care in their fiscal year of 2024, that budget. While Congress considers those proposals, the president is taking immediate action to make more care affordable for American families, support family caregivers, boost compensation, and improve job quality for care workers, and expand care options. Now, specifically in executive order are these. It's going to make childcare and long-term care more accessible and affordable for families, including military families. It's going to improve access to home-based care for veterans. It'll boost job quality for early educators, enhance job quality for long-term care workers, support family caregivers, advance domestic workers' rights. It's going to ease construction of early childhood facilities for tribes, which is a huge deal. And it's going to engage affected communities. So he's moving forward with this. They're trying to make a difference. There's a lot of good stuff in these actions.
Yeah, huge changes, all by executive order. So we'll wait any day now for any Republican to sue and try to block these.
Oh, of course. Of course.
Yeah, that's in the cards, I'm sure. All right, everybody, stick around. I'm really excited. I'm up next with my friend Liz Winstead. We'll be right back.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Hey, everybody, it's AG. As you know, I used to toss and turn every night, struggling to get a decent night's sleep. I thought it was because of the stress of the orange man in the White House and all the onslaught of news and stuff and disinformation from Fox or whatever. But as it turns out, I was sleeping on a mattress made for someone else. I discovered Helix Sleep. I took their online sleep quiz. It took 2 minutes at helixsleep.com/dailybeans. And with their personalized approach, I found a mattress tailored to my needs. Now I wake up feeling rested and energized. I can't imagine going back to a regular mattress. Again, that's helixsleep.com/dailybeans. Take their 2-minute quiz They'll match you to a customized mattress that'll give you the best sleep of your life. Helix understands that everyone has unique sleep needs, which is why they offer a range of mattress models to choose from. Whether you prefer soft, medium, or firm bed, or you need cooling technology to help regulate your temperature, they have you covered. I'm a side sleeper, and I like a medium firm bed, so the Helix Midnight was the perfect match for me. And since I started sleeping on it, I wake up each morning feeling completely rested and ready to take on the day. Ordering your own personalized Helix mattress is simple. Just take the quiz, place your order, and wait for it to arrive at your doorstep with free shipping. Then your sleep problems will be over too. They have a 100-night risk-free trial and a warranty lasting 10 or 15 years depending on the model, so you know Helix has your back. And don't take my word for it. Helix Sleep was awarded #1 Best Overall Mattress of 2020 by GQ and Wired Magazine. Experience the comfort and quality of Helix Sleep for yourself. You won't be disappointed. Right now, Helix is offering 20% off all mattress orders, plus 2 free pillows for listeners. Just go to helixsleep.com/dailybeans and use promo code HelixPartner, all one word. This is their best offer yet, and it won't last long. With Helix, better sleep starts now. Hey, everybody, welcome back. I am super stoked, to quote myself from the 90s, to speak to my friend today, co-founder of The Daily Show and co-host of the Feminist Buzzkills podcast, which is on the MSW Media Network, which we love, and also works with Abortion AF, Abortion Access Front. Please welcome Liz Winstead. Hi, Liz.
Thank you. Hello.
Hello. So we are here to discuss the bullshit that is standing in the mifepristone case with Kaczmarek, who took his name off of a paper that he wrote right before he went to get confirmed and pretending to be some sort of a scientist and making rulings that the FDA should be making. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit because this show comes out on Wednesday, and that will be the day that the emergency stay issued by Justice Alito, by the way, will expire. So what are your thoughts on, because listeners are already familiar with the case. They know that the standing is bullshit, and I want to talk to you about what you think about this ruling, where it might go, and what the quote unquote standing that they twisted themselves in pretzel knots to try to, establish in the Fifth Circuit.
Well, I mean, the fact it's wild because even within they filed their paperwork today, this Alliance for Garbage, Hippocratic, Pro-Life, whatever the hell. And they emphasized the Comstock law, and then they emphasized their standing. And the case that they make around their own standing is that at some point, which hasn't happened in the 23 years that mifepristone has been available and the 5 million people who have used it, somehow now that there is an allowing of it to be just dispensed differently, that a bunch of pro-life, anti-abortion medical people are going to be flooded with patients and they will not be able to deal with the capacity. Now, first of all, I want to break that down for a second. There's been 28 cases associated with death or harm when it comes to the 5 million people that have used this drug since it's been legal in the United States since 2000. B, if you're having any complications due to taking an abortion pill, logical says, I'm going to go to the emergency room. Illogical says, I'm going to go to a doctor who hates my very existence and the fact that I took this pill, who's probably not going to help me. And then really illogical is part of the people that are claiming standing are pro-life dentists. So if you are taking an abortion pill and you're like, you know what, I can't think of anywhere to go other than a pro-life dentist because the word cavity or vagina dentata or something.
Vagina dentata. I have to tell you a fucking hilarious story. When I was in the Navy, I was one of the first women in the nuclear program, and they hadn't quite got their shit together to have women on base when I got there, right? So we were living in different barracks and we didn't really have facilities and there were no GYNs on base. And so I was like, hey, I need to get on birth control because, 600 men, 4 women. I need to get on birth control. And, rape is a prevailing, I guess, concept in the military now. It's a occupational hazard, we'll say. And, so I went to get we have to get a pap smear to get the pill, right? I had to tell them that because they didn't know that. And then, or, you want to make sure everything's in order before you get on birth control. And they were like, well, we have a dentist you could see. They literally recommend that we have dentists on base. And I was like, I don't understand here. So anyway, I was like, no, I protested. They ended up sending me to Jacksonville from Orlando, which I guess is the nearest GYN in Navy terms. But
I would think that Disneyland would have a OBGYN.
Yeah, I don't know if the VA covers Disneyland obstetrics. But
yeah, so the standing piece,
ridiculous.
The standing piece is ridiculous. Also, just it seems the buffoonery does seem next level. And I guess maybe if you marry, the lead attorney is Josh Hawley's wife. So if you found Josh Hawley tolerable to soil you, I'm guessing you're probably not that good of a lawyer because you really haven't defended yourself against horribleness. But this Comstock law piece is so interesting that they would even try to uphold it, because if it's saying that you're barring lewd, lascivious things to be sent through the mail, then it's time that we start having lawsuits about the Victoria's Secret catalog and Viagra and anything you've ever ordered off of Amazon, or every
Adam
15 second, all of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Roman, do you want discreet boner pills?
Hims.
No more.
Yeah.
Like if the Supreme Court rules that you can parse out certain things and define them, because I thought we sort of settled porn and all that stuff in the Larry Flynt case. I know it when I see it, kind of a thing.
Yeah, over multiple decades, as a matter of fact. And yeah, that's just for information. That's what the Comstock law is. It banned lewd things to be sent in the mail, and it was about the birth control pill. But it ended up covering all sorts of.
Well, and also it was 1873. Literally, the dude named Comstock showed up in D.C. with a satchel full of sex toys and magazines that apparently were sent through Pony Express or Wells Fargo Wagon, or I don't know how the mail was delivered in 1873, but he did a presentation. He laid it out on display, saying he had it for research to show Congress what was being sent through the mail. And then Congress was like, this is terrible.
And meanwhile, these are doctors who would say, you've got ghosts in your blood, you should do cocaine about it.
And doctors who were smoking while they were giving you exams.
Yeah, that happened also up to the 70s, by the way.
Right.
That's like super, like the 1970s, not the 1870s.
By the way, I know.
But the thing about it is that these future hypotheticals of hordes of women that are going to come in because they've had some sort of complication with mifepristone because it's changed somehow in 2016 or 2021. Future hypotheticals do not standing make.
No, they do not.
Otherwise, I could, and we've seen this from people in California, Governor Gavin Newsom. He's like, oh, so then I can go in and sue to block gun manufacturers from selling guns because of the potential future mass shootings of children, which are actually real. That still wouldn't have standing, right? And
that's right.
Yeah. And so we may see some sort of challenges like that. But what do you think is going to happen? Because I personally don't think that SCOTUS will find that these groups, this hypocritical group, has standing.
Hippocratic hypocrites.
I don't think they'll find that they have standing just based on case law. However, we know in the overturning of Roe with the Dobbs decision that stare decisis is out the window for this particular Supreme Court. But this one seems pretty cut and dry to me, but I'm not sure where this will go. And we also know that if this Supreme Court doesn't hear this case on the merits because of standing, they will find one and wait for one that they will hear on the merits.
100%. And I do think that also there is a history of the Supreme Court being deferential to the FDA. Like we have seen that in the past.
Uh-huh.
And so I think that, and I think that as we see some of these states who were fighting against Obamacare and saying, you can't intervene in the medical procedures that we have and tell us what we can and can't do, that's coming to bite them in the ass.
That was fun.
And it was really fun, but I do think I think you're right. I don't think that the Supreme Court can look at this, especially after all the chest beating and Brett Kavanaugh writing his sidebar when he overturned Dobbs, saying this goes to the state. If you don't like it, elect who you want to elect. And the first thing that it does is go to a federal judge. to make decisions. So which is it, right? And so I think that it's going to be a wait and see. I'm trying to be optimistic. And it's time now, though, as we wait and we listen and we learn, if you have the strength and the power and you've used medication abortion, you are your own focus group. And to have those 5 million people say, I don't think so. And to have judges write things like, well, this is a very dangerous drug because it causes bleeding. And it's like, so does your period. Anytime you shed your urine lining. And how about childbirth? That's a real bloodbath. I'm just telling you.
Yeah.
So I think the Supreme Court's really in a pickle because I think they have no other choice when everything is laid out to say, no. And we have a really great pod that's up right now with Dr. Michelle Goodwin, who is a constitutional lawyer and a scholar on reproductive health rights and justice. And she walked us through it. It's really a good episode. So I highly recommend listening.
Yeah, let's tell everybody about that before I let you go. Tell everybody about where your podcast's at, where they can find you, where they can follow you, where they can support you.
Yes, absolutely. The podcast Feminist Buzzkills, we drop new episodes on Fridays. We're having Tanya Pellegrini this Friday on from the Lawyering Project, who have done work with the Supreme Court and in front of the Supreme Court to really talk about what the ruling means when it comes down tomorrow. So that's going to be really awesome. To find us on socials and to keep up with all of this news on a daily basis, go to Abortion Front on all of the socials. And you can find me at Liz Winstead with 2 Z's. We're all over the place helping you be better about all these things.
So awesome. Liz, extra Z. I appreciate you so much.
Said.
Yeah.
I appreciate you, friend.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me on.
Of course. The work you're doing is so incredible. So everybody follow, find, listen to Feminist Buzzkills, follow Abortion Front on all the socials as well because of all the incredible work that we could take up a whole other show talking about what you're doing with that group. But I appreciate your time today, everybody. Liz Winstead, stick around. We'll be right back with the good news.
Look around this car and think of all the hot, crispy McDonald's fries that have slipped out of your fingers after you couldn't resist grabbing them. Thank you, Fulton Fries. Give your fingers another chance ordering ahead on the McDonald's app. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Mobile order and pay at participating McDonald's.
This message is provided by Boehringer Ingelheim. Idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis, or IPF, is one of the more common forms of progressive fibrosing interstitial lung diseases with symptoms including breathlessness during activity, a dry and persistent cough, chest discomfort, fatigue, and weakness. There are more than 200 lung disorders that can lead to pulmonary fibrosis, an irreversible scarring of lungs that can negatively impact lung function, quality of life, and may become life-threatening. While approved treatments for people living with these diseases can help slow disease progression, new therapies are needed to help potentially stop progression. Fortunately, there is new research underway to assess the safety and efficacy of an investigational treatment in patients with IPF and other progressive ILDs. This is part of Boehringer Ingelheim's Phase 3 Global Fibroneer program. To learn more about Fibroneer and eligibility requirements, visit fibroneer-ipf.longboat.com and fibroneer-ild.longboat.com.
Season 4 of How We Win is here.
For the past 4 years, we've been making history in critical elections all over the country. And last year, we made history again by expanding our majority in the Senate, beating election-denying Republicans in crucial state house races, and fighting back a non-existent red wave.
But the MAGA Republicans who plotted and pardoned the attempted overthrow of our government now control the House, thanks to gerrymandered maps and repressive anti-voter laws. And the chaotic spectacle we've already seen shows us just how far they will go to seize power, dismantle our government, and take away our freedoms.
So, the official podcast of The Persistence is back with Season 4. There's so much more important work ahead of us to fight for equity, justice, and our very democracy itself. We'll take you behind the lines and inside the rooms where it happens with strategy and inspiration from progressive changemakers all over the country.
And we'll dig deep into the weekly news that matters most and what you can do about it with messaging and communications expert, co-founder of Way to Win, and our new co-host, Jennifer Fernandez-Ancona.
So join Steve and I every Wednesday for your weekly dose of inspiration, action, and hope.
I'm Steve Pearson.
And I'm Jennifer Fernandez-Ancona.
And this is How We Win.
Everybody, welcome back. It's time for the good news.
Who likes good news? Everyone? Then good news, everyone.
Good news. And if you have any good news, confessions, corrections, you want to play What the Mutt or What the Horse, I've been doing that. You have frog orgy pictures or baby photos or pod pet tax, especially wearing costumes and dresses and sweaters and stuff. We love that. If you don't have a pod pet, you can share an adoptable pet in your area. Give a shout out to somebody you love, a small business that you want to support, a small business that you're doing. Anything you want, send it to us at dailybeanspod.com and click on contact from Anonymous, no pronouns given. Hi, AG and Dana, you amazing humans, you. I am a cisgender parent of an amazing and hilarious gender expansive tween kiddo.
Ooh, I love that term.
Right? Gender expansive. On puberty blockers, happy and thriving. Who has been gender expansive since aged 2? Thank you both for being such strong and amazing allies of the LGBTQ plus folks and trans kids in particular. We really need strong allies like you right now. In case it's not obvious, it is really fucking hard and depressing this time right now. And I'm in a safe-ish, though vulnerable state, Virginia. To your listeners, please consider speaking up whenever you can to support transgender people in schools, in sports, in public, in the workplace. We need you. I do what I can behind the scenes, working with our public schools and getting involved at my workplace, both supportive and safe, if sometimes clueless. I oftentimes feel muzzled because I need to keep my kids safe. This means that I don't feel comfortable speaking publicly at school board meetings or advocating in other public ways. This means that I don't feel comfortable. Yeah, I'm also a federal employee, so very limited political activity, but I donate whenever I can. Anyways, Beans Queens, thank you for standing up for trans and gender expansive kids. You are the bestest. For pet tax, I've included some of our pics of our 2 goofy cats and deceptively peaceful looking, who bring us such joy, though they don't exactly bring each other joy. Haha. P.S. I'd love to hear an interview with Judd Legum of Popular Information. Was absolutely thrilled to hear you discuss his important work today. Yeah, that was a really incredible story. And I love that. Gender expansive.
Right, so good.
Oh, look at the large butt on that cat.
That is a big cat butt. Baby got back.
Mustache.
Oh, you got a mustache, kitty.
Oh, look at that Van Dyke on the
Look at you. A Van what?
Look at you. It's a Van.
Van Dyke. I was when I was on my trip, Brussels to Amsterdam. We stopped in places like Sloterdijk and Kinderdijk, and of course, then I'm with 120 lesbians, and every time they say something, a dyke, a double dyke, we're just giggling. I'm like, oh my god, we're like teenage girls. It's our Jack from Will and Grace. It was awesome. All right. This next one's from Kathy from Kansas, pronouns she and her. I love your shows and listen to Daily Beans, clean up on aisle 45, and Jack faithfully. I have to admit that I voted for Trump in 2016 and quickly regretted my actions even before the inauguration. I really got involved in following all the issues with Kansas politicians when Kansas politicians tried to change our constitution in a primary election with misleading statements. Keep up the good work.
I remember that.
Yeah. And then, as you know, good things happened in Kansas and they kept abortion legal and blah, blah, blah. I've included my wonderful pets for your enjoyment. Bruiser was my first rescue, a retriever, dachshund mix. The other 2 are Ash, another rescue who was listed as a mastiff mix, not even close, and Pumpkin, a Yorkie poo-poo, who rules the roost. And What the Mutt is Ash.
All right. What the Mutt is Ash, if not a mastiff mix? Let's see.
I would say Boxer.
Oh, look. Boxer. Yeah, Boxer.
Maybe some Pity.
Maybe Ridgeback or Vizsla for the color. Vizsla. And then, what'd you say, Pity?
A little bit, maybe.
And, of course, Chow. Look at the head, though. It's not a flat head. It's got a... Yeah, what is that about?
Maybe it's a lab?
Yeah, or a poodle.
Oh, okay.
But the fur.
Those weren't even close to each other. I'm like, maybe it's a lab. And you're like, yeah, or a poodle.
Or a chow chow. Maybe it's a chow chow. Staffy, Boston Terrier, and Boxer. So you got Boxer, and we missed the Boston Terrier and Staffy. So there you go. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you very much for that.
No, we're sliding down. It is a Staffy, a Boston Terrier, and a Boxer. You said that, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh my God. What did I pass out for 13 seconds? What the hell just happened? I thought you were still guessing.
No. I scrolled down. I'm sorry. I probably should have said that.
Don't be. We got Boxer.
We did. We got Boxer.
Oh my God.
1 for 3.
Sometimes I feel like I just have baby strokes. Okay, go ahead.
All right. Next up from Nico, pronouns he and him. To help take my mind off things, the universe decided to help me out and blessed me with kittens. 8 kittens. Not by one cat, but 2. A mother and daughter stray that took up residence on my porch. The mama cat, the one with the white spots, had her 4 on the 11th. The daughter kitty was helping out with the younger siblings, and I think that made her go into labor early because 4 days later, 5 really tiny kittens.
God.
Sadly, 1 didn't make it, but all 8 are doing well. You can see the size difference in the pics. It's funny to see the mamas with a variety of kittens at one time. The mamas and my roommate and I are making sure everyone is being fed, but good news is I'm pretty sure these are the last 2 stray females in my neighborhood. So in 6 to 8 weeks, the kittens and mamas will be in a foster and soon forever homes. I'll send another picture of the unique colors of the mama cat's coats and hopefully the kittens too soon. Stay safe and thank you for my morning pick-me-up.
Look at all
at
the
this.
kittens.
Oh my goodness. Look at them. They're all so tiny.
Oh my God.
Little oranges and gingers and tuxedos.
Oh my God, they're so cute.
Oh, look at. I can't.
Mama and daughter kitten. Also, though, if they got impregnated by the same cat, that's like a kitty Jerry Springer waiting to happen.
Yeah, it definitely is.
The kittens are like, you look like me. Yeah, you look like me too. All right.
Checkers, you are the father.
Of all of those kittens. All right. This next one's from Anonymous, pronouns he and him. Hi, Beans Queens. We are in rare form today, and I fucking love it. Good news. Good news, but won't start sounding that way. However, Tuesday's show discussing how people's identity is being used as a wedge issue to drum up hate and the good work others have stepped up to do made me want to share. My dad is an asshole. Years of therapy and his being uninvited from holidays have shown this. I wasn't considering that over Easter, and my extended family ended up doing Easter early due to my cousin's parenting plan with her ex when I just called home to talk. I got a 35-minute rant from my father against trans people. Now, I won't go into full details, but at one point he unintentionally quoted the villain of Rocky IV while misgendering a trans girl. Quote, "If he dies, he dies." That was about suicide, which I admit seemed on par for an angry boomer these days, to quote a Russian villain from the Cold War. But the part I do have to share is this. He was practically screaming at one point, "What about my kid? What about what it takes away from my kid in sports?" I was just silent for several long seconds before replying, "Dad, I'm a 36-year-old man. I'm your only kid. I'm not playing high school girls' sports. I didn't even play high school sports at all. How do you think that impacts me in any way?" He, of course, spluttered and raged about other things, sadly. So at this point, you're probably going, making the bigot a sputter aside, how the hell is this good news? And I apologize for the link to get to the good news. Without exception, everyone I know whom I told about this was utterly aghast. Fellow boomer relatives that were his age, my fellow millennials in my friends groups, my Gen X friends, my Gen X therapist, all were just horrified. As someone who teaches in a university setting, I knew that overall with Gen Z, the kids are all right these days. But it warmed my heart to find out just how far the rest of our generations have come. During the period when I was growing up, the reaction would have probably sided with my father's hate. But in a red part of a purple state, the reaction was still pretty slanted towards love, equality, and accepting people for who they are, not for who society tried to force them to be for centuries. It gave me hope that in the end, love will win, and people can one day just be themselves without facing judgment and hate. Thank you for all you do with the podcast. Sometimes it can seem like a little candle of hope out in the negativity.
What about my kid? What about what it takes away from my kid in sport? I'm 36 and I'm not playing high school girls sports.
Well, I mean, that's just one of those moments where, someone just regurgitates a Fox News line that they heard that makes absolutely no sense in context.
Yeah. Well, that is good news that everyone else was aghast when you told them that story. But I am sorry that your father is like that. I mean, But thank you very much, Anonymous, for sending that story in. And thanks to everybody for sending in your good news. I'm scrolling back up, looking at all the kitty pictures.
I know, all those little kittens.
The boxer mix and these cute dogs, the doxy mix and the mustachioed cat with the big butt. And this is absolutely great. Thank you so much for sending all these in. If you have anything you want to send us, you can do it at dailybeanspod.com and click on contact. We got about 10 tickets left to our cocktail reception meet and greet for patrons of the Beans and Cleanup on Aisle 45. So if you haven't gotten your tickets yet and you want to, definitely check that out. If you're a patron, the information will be in your inbox or on the Patreon website. And I look forward to that because it's going to be super fun. And anyway, that's it for today. Any final thoughts before we get out of here?
Just one good news, and you know and love her as well. Dina Nina Martinez was sworn in to the Madison Common Council. I love that woman. She is a hysterical comedian, a good friend of mine, and I know a good friend of the podcast. And it's just so awesome to have another trans person representing in Wisconsin. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah, first trans person elected in the state's history, and she won by 54 votes, Dana.
That's amazing.
And she says, thank you for having me on the Daily Beans, because those 54 people. In fact, some of Daily Beans listeners from a neighboring town went to help Dina Nina campaign, and that, and then I had Dina Nina back on the show, and she, it was just like that we could have had an impact like that to make that historic election is just so fucking cool.
It really is. So Beans listeners, if you voted out there in Madison, well done. You got good leadership over there.
Yep, you do. And awesome representation. So that is it, everybody. We will be back tomorrow with no Fox News and Dominion trial. Womp, womp. But I'm sure there'll be other news to report. Until then, please take care of yourselves, take care of each other, take care of the planet, take care of your mental health. Vote blue over Q.
And take someone with you.
I've been AG.
And I've been DG.
And them's the Beans. The Daily Beans is written and executive produced by Allison Gill, with additional research and reporting by Dana Goldberg. Sound design and editing is by Desiree McFarlane, with art and web design by Joelle Reeder with Moxie Design Studios. Music for The Daily Beans is written and performed by They Might Be Giants, and the show is a proud member of the MSW Media Network, a collection of creator-owned podcasts dedicated to news, politics, and justice. For more information, please visit mswmedia.com. MSW Media.
Hi, I'm Harry Littman, host of Talking Feds, a roundtable that brings together prominent figures from government law and journalism for a dynamic discussion of the most important topics of the day. Each Monday, I'm joined by a slate of Feds favorites and new voices to break down the headlines and give the insider's view of what's going on in Washington and beyond. Plus sidebars explaining important legal concepts read by your favorite celebrities. Find Talking Feds wherever you get your podcasts.
Look around this car and think of all the hot, crispy McDonald's fries that have slipped out of your fingers after you couldn't resist grabbing them. Thank you, Fulton Fries. Give your fingers another chance ordering ahead on the McDonald's app. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Mobile order and pay at participating McDonald's.